Assalamualaikum class. Today we'll be going into chapter 6, and that will be on our next multimedia element, that is video. Alright, so what is a video? Video essentially is a representation of moving visual images made digitally or on videotape. Basically what it means is that whenever you take your video camera or any camera that you have and you click on the record button, what it does is that your video will actually consist of images, okay? Many images. So meaning that, let's say I take 2 seconds of video, okay? When I click on the record button, it will take multiple images and create that illusion of movement, okay? So if I do hi, okay, let's say I record this movement, what your camera will pick up is actually, it will pick up all of this movement in terms of images, okay? So when we play it very fast, all right, it will somehow create movement inside, as in your video. All right, so video is an excellent tool for delivering multimedia. Why? Because when we try to learn a certain theory, people will be more compelled to watch a video clip of someone explain the theory than reading a paragraph of text containing the same theory. This means that, let's say if you want to learn something, okay, you want to learn how to use Photoshop. So if I ask you this particular question, so what do you do if you want to learn Photoshop? You either go to Google and you read up the instructions on how to use Photoshop, or do you take an easier route, which is go on YouTube and you search on how to use Photoshop. Most people will actually prefer to use the YouTube method. Why? Because with video, we tend to be more attracted or interested to watch instead of reading a whole paragraph of text, because inside video you have what? Text, you have images, you have sounds, okay? It is a lot more compelling to watch rather than just to read, a very boring plain text, right? So that's why people tend to be more compelled to watch video, right? But when it comes to video, it requires higher storage space in memory and higher transferring rate. Why? Why do we say that a video, if you compare video and, let's say, pictures, okay, one video has a higher storage space than one picture. Why? Because inside one video, like I've said, a video will have many pictures inside there, right? So imagine, okay, you have one, let's say you take one, you record the video and one image that was taken is 1 megabyte, okay? So if you take 1 second of high quality video, okay, and then inside that 1 second of video there are 30 pictures. Imagine one picture is 1 megabyte, so there are 30 pictures in 1 second of video, so there will be around 30 megabytes of data. So this 30 pictures allows you to create motion inside your video. All right, so things will seem as if it is moving because you're taking many pictures at one time. So when we talk about videos and the images inside your videos, okay, we're talking about frames per second, okay? The higher the frames, which is in terms of frames here, we're talking about image, the higher the image or the higher the frames you take per second, the more smoother your action inside your video will be, okay? And that's what it means by taking a video. So when we take a video, there are many pictures that we take along that 1 second or 2 second, whatever second or minutes, whatever video that you're taking, okay? So how video works: when light is reflected from an object through the camera lens, the light will be converted into an electronic signal by a charge coupled device. So if you take a look at this particular image right here, this is an image of a video camera. Okay, let's say you have this video camera and you have this object that you want to record, okay? So of course when you want to record things, you need light. So when you have light, that light will be reflected from the object towards the lens. So when you like that, you will click on the record button. When you click on the record button, okay, how the camera captures what you're seeing is through a this thing, a charge coupled device. This is basically an image sensor, okay? This image sensor will convert light into electrons, okay? These electrons will allow you to save data inside your memory. Okay, so we'll take whatever that you're seeing, which is light, okay, and then it goes inside your camera lens. So this camera lens will convert that into pixels. Okay, as we all know, pictures or whatever things that you're seeing, okay, how light is converted will capture it in terms of pixels. So you have that video, each thing that are consisted inside your video are known as pixels. So that is how you see the image formed on the screen. So since it's a video, okay, it will take many pictures within that one particular second or 1 minute or whatever, and that will create some sort of a motion. All right, so okay, whenever we record a video, okay, what we're recording are pixels, right? Okay, so like I've said, screens, okay, let's say monitors or your camera, your TVs, okay, since you want to produce images on the screen, the color scheme that we're using is RGB, which is red, green, and blue. All right, so whenever you record your video, these color informations are recorded. Okay, now the quality of the video image will be higher if the color information in the signal is separated. Okay, because there will be more RGB data stored in the video, therefore this will enhance the resolution of the camera, making the video more detailed. So if you take a look at this picture that I show you right here, okay, if you have a camera that only has 1 CCD and you compare it with a camera that has 3 CCD, the camera with the 3 CCD will have a higher resolution video. Why? Because you can store more data inside your video. Okay, so imagine each sensor, you have one sensor for the red one sensor for the blue one, and one sensor for the green one. So each sensor will record the color information. Okay, if you compare it, if you only have one sensor, this one sensor will record all 3 color information within that one particular sensor. All right, so of course the one with a higher number of sensors will produce more data meaning that higher resolution. Okay, for example, most consumer grade cameras will only have 1 CCD. So if you take a look at regular cameras or your phone cameras, or even a DSLR will have just 1 CCD. Okay, so inside that camera you will have this one chip, or also known as CCD, which is your image sensor, so it will record all of the 3 colors at the same time. Okay, but if you take a look at top quality broadcast cameras and camcorders, okay, inside that camera there might be 3 CCDs. So each CCD will handle each color, which is red, green, and blue. That's why top quality broadcast cameras will have a higher resolution than most consumer grade cameras. Okay, another thing that the video will record is the synchronization pulse, also known as sync. Okay, this will ensure that the video image is locked on a video monitor vertically and horizontally without any jitter or rolling for a stable video. This means that when you record your video, okay, imagine what it means by locking your video onto the screen is that your video will look as if it is stable. Okay, so if you are shaking, okay, so if I'm shaking like this, meaning that there will be a loss of vertical synchronization because I'm moving things. Okay, since it's like moving, the video image will be distorted. Okay, so your video will not be stable. So since I'm creating this up and down movement, okay, there will be images loss up and also at the bottom. So this is known as jitter. Okay, but if I do this, okay, your video will have loss of horizontal synchronization. So somehow your video will be a little bit unstable. Okay. Alright, so when it comes to video, there are 2 types of video. We have analog video and we have digital video. Okay, analog video is captured and converted into analog signals onto magnetic tapes. Now the difference between analog video and digital video, as we all know, analog is the old technology. Okay, we are using tapes. Okay, so the data that are recorded inside that tape will not be digital, whereas if you record it using your digital camera or your phones, or anything that are digital, all the data that are stored will be in terms of bits. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. When we record it in terms of bits, the data will be in zeros and ones, so we are able to store it inside a memory, things like CDs, memory cards and things like that. So with analog video, since it is not a digital data, we will record that video onto tapes. Okay, so the tape has a magnetic property, so that is how it is embedded onto that particular tape. Okay, so if the tape is ruined, okay, if there's a scratch on the tape, okay, then the video will be ruined as well. Okay, so the resolution of analog video is measured in the number of horizontal scan lines in the format of left to right and top to bottom, meaning that whenever you record your analog video, so you click on record, it will scan horizontally, okay, from left to right until to the bottom. Okay, so each line represents continuous measurements of color and brightness along the horizontal axis, meaning that as you record, when it records, it scans what you're seeing, right? So as it scans that, it will record the color that you're seeing and also the brightness. If it's dark, if it's brighter, if it's darker, and what color you're seeing, like red, green, or blue. So when we combine those things, it will become what you're seeing on the screen. Okay, so if you take a look at this image, this is how an analog video is recorded. Okay, from left to right to top to bottom. Again, if you want to display what is recorded, the same concept, it will display the video horizontally, okay, from left to right also, and from top to bottom. Alright, so this is how an analog video is recorded. Okay, so basically, again, when we have a camera, inside there we will have a CCD, which is your charge coupled device. So this sensor is able to allow what you're seeing to be recorded onto your magnetic tape. Okay, so when we record it on a magnetic tape, it goes through a process called a helical scan recording. Okay, why is it called a helical scan recording? Because when you record an analog video, okay, a spinning recording head will change the magnetic properties of the tape surface. Okay, as we all know, when we record an analog video, we're using tapes. Okay, so that tape will be whatever data or whatever video they're recording will be recorded on that tape. Okay, so if you open up the tapes that you're recording, you will kind of see this this series of long diagonal strips. Okay, this series of long diagonal strips will record all of your video data. Okay, so why is it called a helical scan recording? Because when you record your video, okay, the head is tilted at a slight angle compared to the path of the tape. It will follow a spiral, which is known as helical path when recording it. Okay, so you will have a tape that is not being recorded yet, okay, and then you will have like a slot, an empty slot, so the it will somehow position at a tilted angle. So when you record it, okay, as your video is recorded onto the tape, okay, it will pass through the empty slot and then it will fill up that slot until all of your tape has been recorded. Okay, but it is tilted at an angle, so this is known as a helical scan recording. Alright, so like I said, on your magnetic tape, okay, you will see long diagonal strips, right? Okay, so this strip will contain data. Okay, what data will it contain? It will contain audio track, video track, and also the control track. So each stripe represents the information for one field of a video frame. So like I said, a field is a frame. Okay, so if you take 1 second of video, inside that 1 second, okay, you will have movement, right? So every movement will have their own field or frame. Okay, so yeah, other than the the video frame, okay, it will also record the audio track. So in the middle, okay, here you will notice that there's a video track, and then on top there you will have the audio track as to record that video. Okay, so it won't be a silent video lah. Alright, okay, at the bottom there you will have a control track. So a control track is recorded at the bottom of the video tape, which contains the pulses used to regulate the speed. This is used to mark the beginning of each frame of video. So since we want to know which part of the video goes along with the audio, okay, so we need to have a control track, so we know how to line up or mark where your video starts and your videos and your audio starts, and where your video ends and when your audio ends. Okay, so it also allows us to regulate the speed of the video. Okay, so when since we have a control track, it allows us to do tracking. Okay, tracking is a fine adjustment of the tape during playback so that the tracks are properly aligned as the tape moves across a playback head. Okay, I don't know if you've used a VCR tape before. Okay, let's say you play the magnetic tape, the VCR tape. Okay, you can click on rewind. So when you click on rewind, somehow you will hear the sound like that. Okay, so that sound is what it's doing is actually it is tracking the video. Okay, it is adjusting the tape so that you can play the part that you want, and it will adjust and align the frame and also the audio track that comes along with it. Okay, so that when you play it, it will be played properly. Okay, since the tape will be rewinded and fast forward and things like that. So that is tracking. Alright, so when it comes to an analog video, there are several video standards in managing analog video signal produced by the CCD. Okay, so if you want to play your analog video, okay, these are the types of connections that you may find before. Okay, now you don't really see it because everything is digital, but before this, if you use a TV that is in a square shape, okay, and that very big square shaped TV that has a hump at the back, right, that is known as an analog TV. Okay, where you can play your analog video. All right, so if you want to display your analog video onto your TV, okay, these are the connections that you can use. Okay, component video has a higher quality video because the video signal is transmitted into 3 separate channels. So it uses 3 wires, red, green and blue. So it is able to transfer more data at one time. So of course, since there's more data, there will be a higher quality video. Okay, the lesser quality would be a separate video, so known as S video. This signal will use 2 channels to transmit the color information. So the color information, so there's 2 channels, right? So inside the 2 channels, it will contain luminance and chrominance. Okay, so luminance is the brightness, whether your video you want it to be dark or lighter. Okay, because of course in certain frames there are lighting, right? Okay, and it's also chrominance. Chrominance is the color. Okay, so with separate video you have 2 channels, so each channel will produce the luminance and another channels will be the chrominance, which is the colors. Okay, and then the lowest quality video would be a composite video. So a composite video will only have a single channel. This is the reason why it has the lowest quality, because all data, all channels, meaning that all colors, meaning red, greens and blues, and even the luminance are all recorded or transferred using only one single channel. So that's why it has the lowest quality when it comes to displaying your videos. Okay, so moving on to a digital video. Okay, like I've said earlier, digital video, how we capture it is we're using a digital camera. Okay, so whether using your phone or DSLR or regular digital camera. Okay, so when you record that, when you record your video, you click on your record button, it will capture what you see, okay, in terms of images, but a lot of images, and then you will play it really fast. Okay, so when you play it really fast, it will create that moving visual image. So all of these images, okay, that is in terms of your video, will be in the form of a digital format. So when we talk about a digital format, it will be in terms of bits, which is zeros and ones. Okay, so of course a digital video is captured using a digital video camera. So it will capture moving images and convert them into digital signals. Alright, so the video signals that is produced by the CCD, which is your image sensor, will be digitized by the camera into a sequence of single frames. So like I've said, when we click on the record button, okay, when we're taking the video, we're actually taking lots of pictures. Okay, so all of these will be in terms of frames. Okay, the higher the number of frames per second, the higher the quality of your video. Okay, so your video could be 30 frames per second, it could be 60 frames per second. Okay, so if I give you this example, let's say I want to take someone skateboarding, right? Okay, so if I take a video with 30 frames per second, the video won't be as smooth. Okay, also, or if you want to take a slow motion of something, let's say if I want to pour water into a mug, okay, I can take a shot of that. So I can take either in a 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second, or I can take it in 60 frames per second. Okay, if I take it in a lower frames per second, the action won't be as smooth. Okay, but if you take it in 60 frames per second, the action that you see on screen will be very smooth. Why? Because there are more images that you can capture for that particular action. Okay, so yeah, so whenever the CCD is recording your video, it will digitize that into single frames. Okay, so how many frames per second, right? And then after that, the audio and video data will be compressed before they are digitally stored. So every single video that is recorded will have its own codec. Okay, codec allows your audio and video data to be compressed before they are stored. Okay, I will explain in detail what is codec after this. Right, codec allows a massive amount of imagery to be squeezed into a comparatively small data file, so that there's a good viewing experience during playback. Now, it says here that codec is the algorithm used to compress a video into compatible digital format for delivery, which will then be decompressed for fast playback in real time. This is known as decode. Now, like I've said, whenever you record a video, there must be a codec there. Okay, because a codec does two things. It will encode and it will decode. Okay, what it means by encode, it will compress your video into one particular format. So when you're ready to play it, it will decode or decompress that video so that you can play it back in real time. Okay, now why is this important? Why is codec doing encoding and decoding? Okay, because to digitize a video inside the computer, it will require the transfer of an enormous amount of data in a short amount of time if it is not compressed. Now, like I've said earlier, imagine if you're taking 1 second of video. For only that 1 second of video, I'm shooting it in 30 frames per second. So if I shoot it in 30 frames per second, there are 30 images that will be captured for that one particular second. So if there's 1 minute of video, imagine 1 minute is 60 seconds, right? So 1 second, there are 30 images. So if one image is 1 megabyte, imagine how many data you will need in order to record that 60 second of video. Okay, which will be a lot. All right, so in order for you to play back the video, so it won't take a toll on your computer, right? So it'll be too heavy if the file size is too big. That is why we have codec. Okay, so when you record that video, the camera or your computer, okay, will compress that video into a compatible format so that it has a more manageable file size that you can use. Okay, so when you're ready to play it back, okay, it will decode that video so that you can play it in real time without any problem. Okay, so it will compress your video so that your video will have a smaller file size, but at the same time keeping the quality pretty good. Okay, now codecs is responsible in making and playing the video file. Now without any codec, your video file cannot be played by the computer because your codec is responsible in compressing your video. So in order for you to play it back, you need to decompress it as well. Okay, so that's why you need a codec. So the common codecs for video are, I give you a list here. Okay, if you've okay, you will notice this when you use Adobe Premiere, okay, and you want to render your file. So once you have finished editing your video, right, and you want to render your file, you can choose the codec that you want. Okay, so each codec will somehow suits different format of video. Okay, so let's say you want to upload your video on YouTube. So the best codec for you to use is H.264. Okay, because this codec allows you it is the most suitable to play for streaming services like YouTube. Okay, you want to play on other streaming sites like Spotify, or whatever streaming sites online. Okay, so if you want to, let's say you shoot using your GoPro, okay, and your video is 4K. 4K is higher than HD, than 1080p. Okay, so 4K, it has a higher resolution, so the codec that you can use is H.265. Okay, another codec we have is if you want to create a video for DVDs or Blu-rays, then you can use MPEG-2. Okay, you also have MPEG-4. This is similar to H.265, but it is suitable for the web and Blu-ray disc. Okay, and you also have DivX. So if you want to have the highest quality, you can use a DivX codec, but you will need to sacrifice the memory because it has a really big file size. Okay, so since we're talking about codec, there's digital video containers. Okay, digital video containers will store the compressed audio and video into one package. Okay, some example of containers are MPEG. So when talking about containers, we're talking about the format of the video. So we have .mp4, we have AVI, MOV, FLV, WMV, OGG, WebM, RM. So all of these are actually containers that allows you to store your video into one particular file. Okay, so inside that one package, in that one file, you have your audio and video that was compressed by your codec. Okay, so basically a container and codec will somehow work hand in hand. All right, so if you let's say you want to produce video on YouTube, you want to post it on YouTube, then you can use a what's it called, H.264 codec. Okay, and you can produce a .mp4 video, for example, okay, or .avi videos. Okay, you can even use QuickTime if you want, .mov. Okay, but this doesn't have much compatibility in certain sites or in certain platform. Okay, FLV file is actually commonly used as well. Why? Because you can produce a very small file size, and this is pretty common in websites. You can find certain websites using FLV, and also, but when you want to play an FLV video on your browser, you might need some sort of plugins for that as well. Okay, and if you want to produce a Windows media format .wmv, okay, the file size is small as well, but there is a low quality, there will be a lower quality video because of that. Alright, so depending on what you want, you can choose your codec and you can also choose your container. Alright, okay, moving on. There are several video standards in managing digital video signals, okay, which includes, alright, DVI and also HDMI. Alright, before HDMI comes along, okay, DVI comes first. The DVI stands for Digital Visual Interface. Okay, this has now been replaced by HDMI, of course, because the only connection that we are familiar with are HDMI, right? Okay, but before HDMI comes along, there's DVI. So DVI is used to transmit video data but not audio data. You can find DVI on connections like monitors. Okay, you will notice that monitors use this connection, or projectors. Okay, they use this connection, but with this connection, the video, it can only transmit video data. So you need to have some sort of another wire to transmit your audio data as well. Okay, so this is used in some computer monitors since it lacks audio. Okay, but nowadays all connections with digital video or digital format all uses HDMI. You notice your TV, your laptop, okay, your monitors now, okay, I don't know, whatever, projectors, okay. Right now most connection uses HDMI connections, okay, which stands for High Definition Media Interface. So this is a digital standard connection for digital video, since it can transmit both video and audio data using the same cable, while at the same time transmitting very high quality video. Okay. Alright, digital video now has replaced analog video as a method of choice for making and delivering video for multimedia. Why is that? Okay, we can't really find analog video nowadays, okay, because it has now been replaced by digital video. Why? Because digital video quality begins and remains digital. Okay, It means that no quality is lost when you copy your digital video, whereas analog video degrades with each copy. Now, before this, okay, when we have tapes, okay, and we want to imagine, okay, you have a VHS tape, okay, and you have a CD, okay. If we compare the two, a VHS tape will actually deteriorate within time. Okay, if we take a look at the next point, the resolution quality of digital video will be good no matter what video formats you use, whereas analog video quality can deteriorate after 5 years. So if I have a VHS tape and I have a CD, after 5 years, the VHS tape's quality can lessen, meaning that your video can actually be ruined, or it can get rosa, okay, after a while. Whereas a CD or your USBs or your memory card, okay, the data inside there will be the same even after God knows how many years, okay, because the VHS tapes, it uses magnetic properties, so the magnetic properties can actually deteriorate after a while. Okay, and another reason why we choose digital video, because of course, first of all, digital video has a higher quality, okay, that's given. Okay, another reason is no matter how many times you copy your video, okay, the quality won't be lost. So let's say I download a movie and I want to give that movie to my friend. All I need to do is just copy and paste that, and the quality of that video will be the same as when I give it to my friend. Whereas if you have a VHS tape, okay, and you recorded it onto that tape and you want to copy that tape, okay, the video that you copied will be less than the original one. Okay, it's like the same concept as when you photocopy certain documents, okay, or pictures. So let's say you photocopy things, okay, and then let's say you print something, okay, and then you photocopy that print, okay, but you take the photocopied one, you photocopy that, and you photocopy that. The more you photocopy the photocopied things, okay, the quality will be lost. So the same thing goes for analog video, okay, but with digital video, the quality will always be the same, no matter how many years, no matter what you do to it as well, right? So when it comes to video standards, there are 4 video broadcast and video standards and recording formats commonly used around the world, which are NTSC, PAL, CCAM, HDTV. So when we talk about broadcasting, we're talking about TV, how your TV receives the data. For example, you have Astro, right? So how do you get the video from your channels is through these video standards, okay? So we have NTSC, we have PAL, we have CCAM, and we also have HDTV. So these standards defines the way information is encoded to produce electronic signals that creates a television picture, okay? So analog broadcast video standards. So before we have HDTV, okay, so these are the video standards that were used, okay? Your old TVs uses these video standards, okay? You have NTSC, okay? Depending on where you are, okay, if you are in the US, you are using the NTSC standard. So if you are in the UK, you'll be using the PAL standard, okay, which is phase alternate line. If you are in France, then you may use the CCAM video standard, okay? So the standard used will depend on the country. So in Malaysia, I think we use this PAL, okay? So each standard will have their own settings or their own standard, okay, that they use in order to display their broadcasted signals. All right, so and nowadays all of us, all TVs, okay, since we're all transmitting digital data, we're using high definition television standards, okay. It started out as digital television by sending digital signals, of course, okay, since we have digital data, okay, everything is stored in bits, okay, so they use digital DT or digital television standards before, but now since everything is in HD, high quality, that is when HDTV comes in. Okay, how do you know which one is DT, which one is HDTV? You can see from the aspect ratio, okay. When you have a wide screen display, okay, we know that that video signals is transmitted as HDTV. Okay, if the video is in squares, which has an aspect ratios of 4:3, then we know that's a DT. All right. So the resolution the resolution of HDTV, of course, will be in a higher format. Okay, the lowest one would be 720p. Okay, and then the highest one would be 1080i or 1080p. Okay, you will notice that the I and P are two different things. Okay, I will explain that in detail after this. Okay, the I stands for interlaced, the P stands for progressive. Okay, it is how your your monitors or your TVs displays your videos. Okay, so yeah, I will show that to you after this. Okay, so if you take a look here, analog video, okay, the highest quality that they had before was 480i, which is not very high. Okay, then you have digital TV, so SDTV, meaning that it's a standard definition television, so the quality is not that high. The highest is 480 that you can have. So if you take a look at YouTube, you will have SD and you will have HD. So SD would be 360, 480, HD would be 720, 1080. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. Okay, so as we go higher, okay, you have HDTV, so that is 720p, 1080i, and then full HD is 1080p. Okay, again, between standard definition and high definition, you can also see it from the aspect ratio. So SD will have a square shape, while HDTV will have a widescreen shape. Okay, so let's talk about the displays. Okay, so let's talk about the displays. So what kind of technology are used to display your videos? So of course we have an older technology, which is the cathode ray tube screen, CRT screen. Okay, so whenever you see a TV, an old TV, they are pretty big, very, very big, because at the back they have a cathode ray included inside there. Okay, so this cathode ray, why is your old TV really heavy and really big? Because the cathode ray inside there is pretty big. Okay, what the cathode ray does is it will shoot out electron beam onto your screen. So you have this screen and you have the cathode ray, right? And then it will shoot onto the screen. Okay, it will shoot either red, green, or blue electron beams. Okay, and that is how your video, video is displayed on your TV screens. Okay, as the electron beam scans across the screen, the image will be displayed on the screen like that, horizontally, horizontal scan rates. Okay, but then nowadays, since we have digital data, okay, all the displays are flat screen. We don't really see TVs with like huge hump at the back anymore. Okay, everything is flat. Okay, so everything is stored in terms of digital. Okay, and the technology that we use nowadays are what? LCDs, which stands for liquid crystal display. We even have plasma technologies. Okay, and then there might be better qualities of how video are displayed on your TVs. Okay, there are many technologies as the year progress. So I'm not really sure what's the newest technology in terms of TVs, but everything is flat screen and everything is digital. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier, interlacing and progressive scans. So if you take a look at YouTube, okay, you will notice that the settings that you can choose in your video, you can choose either as 360p, 480p, 720p, 1080p. Have you noticed I before? No, right? Why? Because nowadays all scans are basically how the video is displayed on the screen. Okay, how your video refreshed, how each image is refreshed on the screen is done progressively in progressive scan. Okay, we don't really see interlacing anymore. All right, that's why we have P at the end there. Okay, all TVs, they uses I. Okay, why I stands for interlacing. Okay, interlacing is a process of building a single video frame from two fields. Now imagine old technology, okay, their speed is not that high. Okay, if they want to display their video very fast, they can't display the whole picture at one time. So in order to save time, okay, in order to prevent flickers, do you know flickers? You know when you your lights, okay, your switch, you can turn it on and off, right? Okay, so when you keep on turning on and off, on and off and off, that is known as flickers. Okay, so if your video, let's say you want to transfer your video and display on the screen, okay, the signal needs to be very fast. Okay, but old technology, the signal wasn't that fast, so you can't send everything at once. Okay, so in order for the screen to not flicker, suddenly you have picture, then you don't have picture, then you don't have. It wants to prevent that. So what it does is it will separate the image into two sections. It will have an odd lines and it will have an even lines. So the image, okay, it will have an odd lines and it will have an even lines. So it will transfer the odd lines first, then it will transfer the even lines, then it will combine the two together, and that is how you see your image on the screen. Okay, so the electron beam will make two passes on the screen when drawing a video frame. Okay, it will draw the odd line first, then it will take the even line, then it will combine the two, and that is how you see your video on the screen. Okay, whereas a progressive scan, it doesn't use that method. Okay, it uses a single pass, meaning that everything is passed at the same time. Okay, it involves drawing lines of an entire video frame in a single pass without interlacing and flickers. So everything is displayed like that, okay, in a single pass. All right, but with progressive scan, it requires a higher bandwidth. Of course, the transmission speed needs to be fast. This is possible nowadays because nowadays all data can be transferred really fast with new technology. That's why old technology uses interlacing. Nowadays we don't use that process anymore. We only use progressive scanning. Okay, all right, so if you take a look here, okay, with old technology, with interlacing scanning, okay, this can happen since we're transferring data in odd and even lines. So when the image is moving very fast, we can somehow see a distortion happening here, okay, because we separated the two images into odd and even lines. Whereas a progressive scan, okay, since everything is transferred as one, okay, we don't really see that the image being combined or anything like that. Okay, so if you take a look here, down here, this could happen also when we use interlacing. When image is moving very fast, okay, this can happen with interlacing because you want to combine the two different fields of images, right? Okay, so then we talk about safe title area. Safe title area is important when you want to display your video onto your screen. Okay, so depending on what screen you're using, whether it's your phone, your TV, your monitors, if it's a small monitor, if it's a big monitor, you need to make sure that your video must be inside the safe title area so that your image will not be affected by overscanning. Overscanning can happen, meaning that let's say you record your video in widescreen, okay, but your monitor or your phone doesn't support widescreen, then your image, not most of them can be displayed. Okay, with safe title area, you will know that whatever that is inside that safe title area, the video will be displayed no matter what screens or what technology you're using. Okay, if it's TV or monitors or your phones or whatever, the video is inside that safe title area will be safe to be displayed on whatever device you're using. Okay, that's what I mean. Okay, so if you don't place your video in a safe title area, overscanning and underscanning can happen. Okay, overscanning is where a situation where not all of the televised image is present on a viewing screen, meaning that your image can be cropped. Okay, so if you take a look here, let's say you want to display this full image, okay, but your screen doesn't allow you to do that. So when you talk about overscan, meaning that your image can be cropped at the side. Okay, let's say you have this one big image, okay, and then you want to display it on a smaller screen. Okay, so since your image is big and your screen is pretty small, so when you paste it on there, okay, there are parts of the video that you can't see. That is known as overscanning. With underscanning, is a total opposite. Okay, it's a situation where the image displayed is smaller than the screen's frame, thus leaving black bars around it. So the black bars appear because the content was filmed in a different proportion than your TV screen. Okay, this happens. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, Instagram, before the current Instagram technology is like what am I talking about? Okay, before the Instagram that you have now, okay, the earlier Instagram only allows whatever pictures or videos that you place inside there to be in a square proportion, aspect ratio of a square. If you want to place a landscape or a portrait image or portrait video, a landscape video, you somehow need to fit within that square shape. Okay, so let's say you have a square shape, right? But you want to place a portrait video. So since it's a square, you want to place it portrait. Okay, somehow you want to fit everything inside there. Of course, there will be black bars around the side. Okay, if you want to place a landscape video and you have a square shape, okay, you will place it there and you will notice there are black bars on the top. Okay, so this happens when your video does not fit properly onto your screen, which causes underscanning. So underscanning meaning that not everything is filled in, so there are black bars around it. Okay, so these are consequences that can happen. So now when you record your video, keep in mind of your what's it called, how you shoot your video. Okay, so these are the consequences that can happen when you don't think about how you want to shoot your video properly. Okay, okay, let's say you record your video in widescreen, okay, but you want to place your widescreen video onto a screen that is square shaped. Okay, so since your video is very wide and you want to place it onto a square aspect ratio, of course there will be underscanning. So this effect is called a letterbox, okay, which will produce black bars at the top and also at the bottom. Okay, but if you don't want the black bars around your video, what will happen is it will cause an overscan. So an overscan, so this technique is called a pan and scan, meaning that you will lose both sides of the image. Okay, since it's wide and you want to place it in something that is square, of course the side will be cropped, okay, will be cut out. All right, whereas if you have a square video and you place it in a wide screen, okay, then a pillar can happen, meaning that things that is square, when you place it something that is wide, of course there is pillars, so it will produce black bars on the left and right. But if you don't want the bars on the left and right, then you can zoom in the video. So when you zoom in the video, of course you will lose the top and the bottom part of the image. Okay, but if you don't want that, okay, you can stretch your image. Since it's square, you want to fit it wide, you have to sort of widen the video shot. Okay, so that is known as stretching. So these are the consequences that can happen when you convert from one aspect ratio to another. Okay, conversion software is a software that you can use to convert your video into any format that you want. Okay, so if you use this conversion software, you can choose to change up the format, whether let's say from FLV to MP4 or from MP4 to AVI. Okay, you can even choose change up the codec for project distribution. So this can all be done using a conversion software. Okay, so obtaining video clips. So there are several ways for you to obtain video clips for your multimedia project. The first one would be to shoot new footage. So this is when you want to create your own video footage. Okay, so you take your camera and you shoot your footage. All right, so when you shoot your own video, please keep in mind of these few things. Okay, have talent releases from the people who appears or speak in your video, and have permissions for any audio effects or music you use inside the video. What is talent release? Talent release is the people who are involved in making your video. So let's say you want to create a movie. So you must have talent releases for the people who appears or speak inside your video. So it's kind of like taking their permission. So you're asking their permission for them to agree to be inside your video. Okay, so without their permission, you can't really use the footage. Okay, so another thing you need to have is permission for any audio effects or music you use inside the video. So make sure that you don't violate the copyright when it comes to placing audio inside your video. Okay, the next technique, okay, that you can use to obtain video clips is by using pre-existing content for your video. So basically you don't exactly have to shoot original footage every single time. Okay, you can either purchase required footage. Okay, you go online and let's say you like a certain video and you buy that video from that person. Okay, or you can use free footage that is available inside any website. So if they say that those footage are free, then you can use it inside your project. Okay, but you know, if things are free, usually they are in lower resolution, so you can't really see anything. So just use whatever that is free if you want. Okay, another technique is by using video screen capture. So this is very beneficial for people who want to make video that trains people how to use software application. Let's say I want to create a video on how to use Adobe Photoshop. So I want to allow people to see what I do on the screen, right? So what I can do is I can capture my video screen, okay, by creating a video out of that. So to do that, you need a video screen capture tools, and you might even need to do some voiceover. So once you record the video, okay, you take your microphone and you talk while you show what needs to be shown on the screen. Okay. So this is a technique when you want to shoot a video. Okay, make sure you have a steady shooting platform so that you can avoid shaky camera work. So a very amateur video or amateur mistake when people shoot their video is when the video is very shaky. Okay, so whatever video that you're recording, make sure that it is stable. Alright, so how do you make your shooting stable? Of course, you can use a tripod. Okay, so take a tripod. Even if you don't have a tripod, place your camera on anything that is not moving, that is very flat. Okay, so that things are not shaking. Okay, but if you want to shoot handheld, what can you do? Okay, maybe you can use a camera that has stabilization feature inside there, so no matter how shaky you are, the video will somehow be stable. Or you can use a steady cam balancing attachment, things like gimbal. Okay, so when you walk around, you can have your camera, so no matter what position you put your camera in, the video will always be stable. Okay. Alright, so audio. So if you want a better audio quality, okay, you can use an external microphone, because when it comes to cameras, okay, there is usually a built-in microphone. But if you want to shoot your subject further away, you need an external microphone so that you can hear what the people say. So when I'm talking to you and I want to give a very clear audio so that you can hear my voice, I can use an external microphone like this. Okay, so this microphone allows you to hear what I'm saying a lot more clearer than if I just record it from the camera that I'm using, because it's further away. Okay, so again, when you use your DSLR, so any camera that is very high tech, okay, you need to learn the features and controls of your camera so that you can, control the lighting, control the exposure, control whatever that you want to do with your camera. Okay, so you also need to know and decide the aspect ratio of your video. Okay, make sure that if you want to shoot for TV, okay, maybe you need to shoot it in widescreen. But if you want to shoot it on your handphone, then maybe you can't particularly need a widescreen. Okay, so balance out between your aspect ratio, because if you don't properly think about your aspect ratio, there can be distortion. So when you want to edit your video, you might need to crop some certain things out, whether on the side or on the top or whatever. Okay, so be careful of your aspect ratio. Okay. Alright, so when it comes to shooting your video, your own video, okay, you can do storyboarding. Okay, storyboarding allows you to plan out the production of your video. Why is this important? Because whenever we shoot a video, we're working in a team, okay? So when you do your storyboard, you allow your teammate to also understand the production idea. Okay, let's say the shot 1 will be shooting in the kitchen, shot 2 will shoot it outside, shot 3 will shoot it on the stairs, for example. Okay, if you plan it out better, you're able to know when to do it, how to do it, who you're going to need it, okay, without wasting time, without wasting money, without wasting your effort. So again, always plan things out. Okay. Alright, so another important thing when it comes to shooting your video is the lighting. Okay, make sure that when you shoot your video, the lighting is enough. Okay, bad lighting will cause your video quality to be bad because there isn't enough light for you to create a high quality video. Okay, so that's why sometimes people, when they work in studio, they will have a more higher quality video because there are many lights that you can highlights your subject. Okay, you have things like fill light, your main light, your key light, your rim light, your background light. Depending on the lighting that you use, your subject can be highlighted in different areas. Okay, as shown here, all right? So another thing we have is chroma key. So this is some sort of editing that we do in order to change the background. Okay, so this you will usually see in movies, because in certain movies they don't exactly shoot it at a particular place. If you take a look at Alice in Wonderland right here, they don't shoot it on the clouds, right? They provide green screen and then they will replace that green screen with the background that they want. Okay, so chroma keys allows you to choose a color or range of colors that will become transparent. This allows us to superimpose meaning that we're able to replace the subjects over different backgrounds. Okay, so the tools that can be used are blue screen or green screen, okay, and also the chroma key editing software. All right, now when you do chroma keys or green screen or blue screen, keep in mind that you do not wear something that is of a similar color to your background. Let's say you're shooting it with the green screen, okay, do not wear a green shirt, because that if you wear a green shirt, then your body will somehow disappear as well, because when you're editing it, your software will think that, oh, your green shirt will also need to be replaced with a different background. Okay, so be careful with that. Okay, so when you shoot your video, of course keep in mind not to use panoramic shots for small computer windows. You know, panoramic shots where you have very wide aspect ratio, because you know you're doing that. All right, so you can avoid that if you think that you want to display it on a smaller screen. Okay, another thing that you need to keep in mind is consider the amount of motions that are in the shot. Okay, the more scene changes from frame to frame, the more data information needs to be transferred from the computer memory to the screen. Now this isn't that important for certain people, because I mean memory is enough for most of us sometimes, but if you want to really save up the memory space, okay, you don't change from frame to frame that frequently, because when you change from frame to frame often, okay, you are changing the data that are inside the video. Okay, the more data that are changed, I mean the more scene that you change, okay, the more information that needs to be transferred and stored. Okay, unless you have a very good compression algorithm, okay, use less panning and zooming. Instead, keep the camera still and let the subject move. So this means that, let's say you want to save out on space, right? Okay, instead of you letting your camera move about and changing whatever the camera captures, okay, get your subject, let's say me, okay, to move to the front and move to the back. Okay, let your subject move, so the information that is changing is only the subject, the background will still be the same. Get what I mean? Okay, so less data will need to be transferred and stored when it comes to things like that lah. All right. Okay, another thing is beware of excessive backlight. Okay, this can occur when you are shooting with a window or bright sky in the background. So whenever you're shooting, do not shoot whereby the lighting is at the back. Shoot where the lighting is at the front. Okay, I know that certain people like to do selfies. Okay, in order to get the best selfies, we shoot in front of the light, right? Okay, I know that certain girls, they go behind the curtains and they take their selfies there. Okay, because they find that that's the best light to get whatever shot that they want. Okay, so if you still want to use a backlight, okay, I mean that's the only position that you have, what you can do is you can light the foreground subject. Take an additional light, and you place it at the front so that there's also light at the front, okay, so that your subject will be highlighted, okay, so it won't be dark on the back. Get me? Okay. You also can adjust the white balance. Okay, white balance will correct for bluish, orange or greenish color cast on the video. Why do we call it white balance? Okay, with our eye, let's say I shoot my video, let's say I shoot this girl, okay, on her wedding, and she's wearing a white dress. With my eyes, I see that as white, but in the video that I capture, I see as orange. Okay, so this means that my white balance is not properly aligned. So what I can do is I can adjust the cast of the video so that the white no longer looks orange. Okay, so you can play around with a cooler tone or warmer tone and things like that and adjust your video, right? Okay, so when it comes to editing your video, we can actually place text inside our video. Okay, usually text and titles are often used to introduce a video and its content, and also finish off a video and provide credits. So you sometimes in movies, you will notice that you will find text on the beginning of the video. Let's say Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, so it is introducing what you're watching, okay, and towards the end as well, okay, to provide credits. That's when you see all the text that are at the end of your video. Okay, when you're placing text inside your video, keep in mind of these things. Okay, use plain sans serif fonts and bold enough to be easily read. Okay, so let's say you want to put subtitles, okay, on your video. Make sure that the font is not decorative. Okay, sans serif meaning that there's no decoration, okay, so that it is blocked and bold so that user can easily read your text. Okay, also choose your colors wisely. So if you have a white background, do not choose a white text. Okay, use a black text. Use something that is very contra, okay, that will make your text pops from the background. Okay, so in order to make your text pop from the background, you can also apply drop shadow. Okay, that is another technique. All right, again, do not kern the letters too tightly, meaning that the spaces in between your letters, do not make it too tight so that it'll be hard to read. All right, this point is also important. Leave titles on screen long enough so that they can be read and then fade them out. Okay, sometimes, okay, the mistake that people do, they place text on the screen, but they don't put it on the screen long enough so that people won't be able to read that text. Won't be able to finish reading that text because it's too fast. All right. Again, avoid making a busy title screen. Do not place text all over your screen. Only place it on certain areas that you need. Right. Alright, lastly, when it comes to editing, okay, we have two types of editing software. We have simple editing software and we have high-end software. Simple editing software usually comes free with your OS. So things like Windows Movie Maker, you have iMovie. So this thing can be found in your OS. So it is usually free. Since it's free, you can only do simple things with it. Okay, you can only do things like cutting, okay, applying simple transitions, insert text, very simple thing. There's not much things that you can do inside there. Okay, but if you use things like Adobe's Premiere Pro, use Apple's Final Cut, use Sony Vegas Pro, all of these software are very high end, meaning that inside that software there are many features that you can do. Okay, you can do animation inside that. You can put sound effects. Okay, you can put text flying from here to here. You can put I don't know, effects where people shoot people. I don't know, you can do many things inside this high-end software, okay? But since there are many things that you can do inside there, it requires many hours of training and experiences before users can become proficient. Of course, there's a learning curve. In order for you to use those features, you need to learn it as well, okay? So lastly, okay, never ever re-edit a video that has been edited, okay? So if you edit a video that has been edited, as I said, when you render a video, it uses codecs. So certain codecs are lossy, meaning that when you compress certain video, the quality of it or the data that is inside it can be lessened, okay, since we want to reduce the size, right? Okay, so when you edit a video that has been edited, of course, the quality will be less and less, okay? This is known as generation loss. So the file will be less true than the original material. So do not let that happen. If you want to edit the original footage, okay, instead of editing an edited version, okay? And that is the end of this chapter. So I'll see you in our next chapter. Bye, class.